The British people want answers, so I'm going to ask questions of the Labour Party and several of them. Will the government commit to urgently deporting all guilty foreign nationals involved?
Imagine a map of Britain, dotted with red pins. Each pin represents a victim of grooming gangs. Now watch as those pins multiply, covering entire cities. This is the scale of the crisis Rupert Lowe claims we're facing. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Now picture a wall, a political wall, being built around the country. This wall represents Lowe's demands: deportations, visa freezes, citizenship stripping. As we explore each brick in this wall,
Madam Deputy Speaker, given that the opposition amendment has been accepted, I'm not going to stand here and outline my disgust at what has happened with regard to the historic grooming gang scandal.
ask yourself, is this protection or isolation? Rupert Lowe's journey from the football pitch to Parliament is a tale of controversy, resilience, and unexpected political ascension. As the chairman of Southampton FC, Lowe's tenure was marked by turbulence and fan discontent. Supporters, frustrated with the club's failure to secure promotion to the Premier League, often expressed their disapproval in dramatic fashion. The chant, "Swing Lowe, swing Rupert Lowe," echoed through stadiums, a biting critique of his leadership style. But how does a man who faced such vehement opposition in the world of football end up winning a seat in Parliament? The answer lies in Lowe's unapologetic approach and his ability to tap into a growing sense of disillusionment among voters. Lowe's management style at Southampton FC was characterized by a confrontational and uncompromising attitude. This same approach would later become his political trademark. In the world of football, Lowe was mocked for his perceived arrogance.
Will the government commit to stripping citizenship from dual nationals implicated and deport them as well? Race or religion must protect nobody.
Simon Jordan, then Crystal Palace chairman, famously described him as having comic book pomposity and a superior air. Yet it was this very quality that would later resonate with voters seeking a break from traditional politics. Before his foray into politics, Lowe had built a successful career in finance, working for prestigious institutions like Morgan Grenfell, Deutsche Bank, and Barings. This background in business and economics would shape his political views, particularly on issues of fiscal policy and immigration. Lowe's experience founding a care home provider, Secure Retirements, further influenced his perspective on social care and the challenges facing an aging population. Lowe's political journey began with an unsuccessful bid for the referendum party in 1997.
Including family members who were aware of the crimes and therefore complicit. Wives, sisters, mothers, cousins, if they knew and said nothing. These individuals are just as guilty as the rapists themselves.
However, it wasn't until he joined the Brexit Party in 2019 that he found his political footing, securing a seat as an MEP for the West Midlands. His staunch Euroscepticism and outspoken views on environmental activism positioned him as a maverick in the political landscape. The parallels between Lowe's management style in football and his approach to politics are striking. In both arenas, he has shown a willingness to challenge the status quo and make controversial statements. This unfiltered style, while divisive, has struck a chord with voters who feel alienated by mainstream political discourse. Lowe's outsider status and business acumen resonated particularly well in Great Yarmouth, where he won his parliamentary seat. The town's demographic makeup, with a significant portion of older and working-class residents, proved receptive to Lowe's brand of populist politics. His promises to shake up the system and address issues like immigration and crime head-on appealed to a constituency feeling left behind by traditional political parties. Rupert Lowe's recent parliamentary speech on grooming gangs has sent shockwaves through the British political establishment. While his unconventional style had already made waves in Great Yarmouth, his latest demands have catapulted him into the national spotlight. leaving even seasoned politicians stunned. The grooming gang scandal has been a festering wound in British society for years, with countless young girls, predominantly from working-class backgrounds, falling victim to organized sexual exploitation. Lowe's approach to this sensitive issue was anything but subtle. He launched into a blistering tirade, demanding the immediate deportation of all foreign nationals found guilty of involvement in grooming gangs. But Lowe didn't stop there. He went further, insisting that family members who were complicit in these crimes should face the same fate, declaring them just as guilty as the rapists themselves. Lowe's proposals didn't end with deportations. He called for a complete halt on Pakistani visas and a freeze on foreign aid to Pakistan until their government agrees to accept deported citizens who have committed crimes in the UK. His words were stark and uncompromising. The mass rape of young white working-class girls by gangs of Pakistani rapists is a rotting stain on our nation. This statement, dripping with raw emotion and racial undertones, left many in Parliament visibly uncomfortable. But Lowe was far from finished. He turned his attention to the government's handling of the scandal, demanding transparency and accountability. He pressed for answers on the estimated number of victims and called for a full investigation into officials who may have had prior knowledge of these crimes but failed to act. His insistence on a breakdown of the nationality and immigration status of those convicted of grooming gang offenses added fuel to an already inflammatory speech. The reaction to Lowe's demands was as divided as one might expect. His supporters hailed him as a brave truth-teller, willing to tackle a sensitive issue head-on where others had failed. They saw his proposals as a necessary step to address a long-ignored problem. Critics, however, were quick to accuse Lowe of exploiting tragedy for political gain and stoking racial tensions. The debate raged on social media and in political circles, with Lowe's name trending for days. Legal experts have raised significant concerns about the practicality and legality of Lowe's proposed measures. The idea of deporting dual nationals and stripping citizenship from those implicated in grooming gang crimes treads on shaky legal ground. These experts argue that such measures could potentially violate international law and human rights conventions, setting a dangerous precedent for future policymaking. Rupert Lowe's confrontational approach in Parliament marks a significant shift in British political discourse. His unapologetic demands and willingness to challenge established norms have resonated with a growing segment of the population. Recent polls show a declining public perception of immigration, with many Britons now viewing it as a negative influence. This shift in sentiment has bolstered the appeal of populist figures like Lowe and parties such as Reform UK. The long-term consequences of Lowe's approach could be far-reaching. Mainstream parties may feel pressured to adopt more hardline stances on immigration to compete with Reform UK's growing popularity. This could lead to a polarization of the political landscape, with moderate voices potentially being drowned out. As the debate intensifies, one must wonder, will Lowe's brand of populism reshape British politics for years to come? Or will it ultimately prove to be a fleeting moment in the nation's political evolution?